Hey, neighbor.
Hey, did you bring breakfast?
I sure did. Wait till you see what I have.
What'd you get? Jenny Lee's swirl bread. I haven't seen this since I was a kid.
I love this stuff. Me and my girls, we love this stuff.
Do you ever wonder how people make swirl bread?
I'm glad you wonder about that. I ask that all the time. We wonder, how do they make it? How do they get those cinnamon swirls in there just like this? You know, Ryan, if you're curious enough, I can show you how this stuff is made. You want to go see?
I'm definitely curious enough. Let's
all right,
do it.
now wait, I got something else in this bag. If you put on these special goggles, Ryan,
Wow.
and I will take you to the place where they make this amazing bread. You want to do it?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Scott Baker. I'm the 5th generation of the Baker family, baking for Pittsburgh since 1875. Today we're going to show you how we get the swirl inside a Jenny Lee swirl bread. So we're here in the mixing room, and I know it's loud here, but that's because we have all of this industrial size equipment going. But even though we've got industrial size equipment, we're really a small batch bakery. We mix in these small bowls right here. It makes about 384 loaves of bread per batch, so not big at all. We take 13 raw, all natural ingredients: flour, sugar, water, salt, yeast. We combine those in the bowl to make a pretty good dough. So here you can see the dough that's been fermenting. This dough is going to rise. That yeast activity allows that fermentation. Fermentation and yeast is creating acids, alcohol, and carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is what makes bread rise. See that stretch? That dough's almost ready to go. You want to be able to stretch that as thin as possible. That's thinner than paper there. We know that's a good dough. So now we get to see Dwayne, our machine operator. He's going to take a piece of dough, put it up into the hopper. This dough here, we're going to get 384 loaves of bread out of this batch. So it helps for him to have long arms to reach there. He could probably be a good Steelers receiver with those long arms. So we make old-fashioned bread, but what really makes it old-fashioned is this old-fashioned style crimp pan that we can use. You can see it's a design that goes way back. So what happens is the more you bake in them, the more carbon you get to stick on, to the point where it's almost you've lost the shine, the glaze. This one looks like it just came back to us. So what we do, we get about 400 to 500 bakes out of them before they're this dark. Once the bread starts sticking in the pan, then we send them to a company called Pan Glow. They dip it in acid, strip it down to the raw stainless steel, then they dip it in a glaze, bake it in a kiln, and they come back to us looking almost brand new. So I talked about batches and the traceability behind those batches. We take that traceability all the way down to the closure tab. So the batch number, this is our 21st batch on 1/18, today's Julian date, in the 3rd year. So once it's bagged, it is the closure tab, and it goes through metal detection. Metal detection here, this is a critical control point, part of our food safety program. And into more, putting it into the cases. 12 loaves per case. Hey, thanks for coming to McKees Rocks and visiting our bakery today. I hope you learned a little bit of something of how we make Jenny Lee swirl bread. I've got a great crew. They love what they do, and really all that love that they put into bread is going home with the swirls to you. So don't forget to pick up a loaf. Come on by and say hello anytime you're in McKees Rocks.
Oh, I love
Wow.
that. Now I know how these swirls are in this beautiful bread that I love so much.
It's amazing the things they've built. The bread came along, the conveyor belt like this, it came out on the trays that look like this. You know, I wonder what else this could be. Could be a tuning fork, or it could be, oh, It's almost like a rocket ship.
ship.
You know, you've been wondering about this swirl bread. I've been wondering a lot about space.
You know, there's another place we can go if you want to learn a little bit more about space and how we might get up there.
Are you suggesting another whimsical adventure?
Let's go wonder, Ryan.
Hi, my name's Jaya Janowitz, and I build spaceships. This is the Peregrine Lunar Lander. What a lunar lander is a spaceship whose job it is to fly from orbit around Earth into orbit around the moon, and then to land safely on the moon. This lander's job is to deliver payloads from NASA and private customers to a specific spot on the lunar surface. There's over a mile of harness in this ship that kind of acts like the brain and the nervous system of the ship. It's how we talk to the ship, it's how the ship talks to us, it's how the ship takes pictures and video. To keep all of that safe, all of our teams had to work around a lot of the harness that you see here on the ship. That's another reason I'm using my clip, is because when we are working on this finalized ship, we have electronics everywhere. We have electronics that have to do with the propulsion, electronics that have to do with data collection, and all of them are very sensitive. So when we clip in, we can be sure that when we touch the structure, we're not going to do any damage to the electronics behind the structure. So, looking at this ship, it looks very complicated and like it's made out of a lot of different things and a lot of different parts. And that's true. We have a ton of different parts coming together to make this ship, but there's a few things that are used almost everywhere. Did you know that we have a special tape that we use for space missions? Well, we do. It's called Kapton tape, and it's used extensively through the space industry. Kapton tape is very special. It looks different than most tape you've seen. Most of it has a kind of gold color, and it comes in a lot of different sizes. But this tape has a lot of really special properties that make it very different from the tape you have at home. It can survive huge temperature ranges, well more than our ship is going to see. I always like to tell people that while it doesn't hurt to have a college degree to work on spaceships, you don't need one. You need to be passionate about space, and you need to have a skill that can help the team building that ship. And that skill could be almost anything. Well, thank you guys so much for spending some time with me to explore Astrobotics' lunar lander. I had a great time talking with you today, and now my friend Olivia is going to meet you in the Moonshot Museum. See ya.
Hey everyone, my name is Olivia Chapla and I'm the marketing director for Astrobotic. I heard that you just came from speaking with my friend Jaya, my colleague, and now we're going to talk a little bit more about Astrobotic and about the space industry and space itself. America has not been back to the moon in almost 50 years since the Apollo program, so that's a really long time. You may see rocket launches on the news and on social media quite a lot. This is a completely different and new challenge that we're facing here. When you think about the moon, it is really our nearest celestial neighbor. The moon is 238,000 miles away from Earth, whereas Mars, where is another destination that is of great interest to us, Mars is 162.9 million miles. And what that kind of means is if you were in a car driving 65 miles per hour and you were trying to get to the moon, you would get there in about 153 days. Whereas if you were trying to get to Mars, it would take you 247 years. So it's quite a difference in distance and effort and time and money to get there. So the reason why the moon is so important and the reason why we're going back to the moon is because it's our perfect proving ground for humans to study how to live off of the Earth in a manner that we never have before. It's going to be our first attempt at surviving in a different atmosphere besides Earth's. It's going to teach us how to live off the land. It's going to provide different materials as well that we're going to use when we're trying to enable more science on the lunar surface. Astrobotic likes to think that we are enabling science. So whatever you can wonder about, whatever you can dream up, Astrobotic is trying to send those science experiments and figure those things out by journeying to the lunar surface. Knowing how crazy the environment of space is, would you ever go? Nice.
Oh, that was
Wow.
amazing.
Wow.
I wonder about space every time I look up at the moon. I even wonder about those swirls, those cinnamon swirls in my bread at the breakfast table in the morning. And Ryan, I sometimes wonder, what on earth do astronauts eat? I brought you a special gift.
Astronaut ice cream. Nice. Thank you. You know, I wonder about the people like Jaya and Olivia and Scott, these people who put so much love into the things they make and do.
What do you love? What do you wonder about? We've wondered about great big questions today. Silly things in our life. What do you wonder about? What do you dream about? Keep on wondering, and we will too. And next time, maybe you'll wonder alongside with us. See you, neighbor.
All right, Greg, we'll see you next time.